Haitians, Jamaicans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, and Cubans. All right. Shalom. Double honors to you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This lesson is based on what's going to happen to Israel with the Jewish Israelis being in the homeland of the so-called African Americans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, and Cubans, and Native and Seminole Indians, Native American and Seminole Indians. What's going to happen to that land? This is Zechariah, this Joel 3 and 16. Joel 3 verse 16. Joel 3 and 16. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. That's in the Middle East. That's talking about the Lord trumpet. He's gonna roar. He's gonna be courageous over Jerusalem. He's gonna be mighty for Jerusalem. He's gonna roar, meaning a sound of war. He's gonna make a trumpet, the sound of a trumpet from the chariots from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Right? And the heavens of the earth shall shake. Why the heavens and the earth going to shake? From these nuclear missiles. This Isaiah 2 verse 19. Isaiah 2 verse 19. And they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for fear of Yahweh and for the glory of his majesty when he arises to shake terribly the earth. Right? Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heaven and the earth shall shake. But Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Right? So the Most High going to cause missiles to be shot off from Iran, according to 2nd Ezra 15. The 2nd Ezra 15. 2nd Ezra 15. Second Ezra 15 and Second Ezra 15 and from 2nd Ezra 15 and 33, and from the land of Assyria shall the enemy besiege them. Assyria is Syria, that's part of Israel. The promised land is from the Euphrates rivers unto the Nile River. So Syria, half of Syria is part of Jerusalem. And from the land of Assyria shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, and their host shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Behold, clouds from the east. The clouds from the east is from the missiles of Iran, and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. Right, that's the full of wrath, full of force and storm, which is destroying wind, that destroying wind, and with Jeremiah 51. And that's going to be from Iran when they shoot missiles, underground missiles upon Israel from Iran, from fighting against the Saudi Arabian troops. So the Lord said, but Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. He's going to be the hope of the elect. Ezra said, who shall save me in those days? That's the angels, the chariots, the so-called UFOs. This Amos 1 and 9. Amos 1 and 9. Amos 1, Shalaki, Amos 1 and 2. And he said, the Lord will roar from Zion. Right, the same thing, he's going to roar from Zion. And utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the inhabitants of the shepherds shall mourn, and the top of Carmel shall wither. Right, so the Lord gonna burn through Jerusalem during the World War III. After once Saudi Arabian, Iranian troops link in Syria, they gonna Iran gonna shoot missiles off on Syria, and and on Israel to blow up that structure that's in Israel. Thus said the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Damascus, and for 4, Damascus is a city. Damascus is a city in Syria, where Syrian President Bashar al-Assad headquarters at. But that's a part of the Northern Kingdom tribe, because Lebanon is was Syria. So the Lord said, what? Thus said Yahweh, for 3 transgression of Damascus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have threshed Gilead with threshing instruments of iron. Right? The Syrians oppressed the northern kingdom of Israel. I tell you that in Tobit, where Naphtali's body was just laid down on the ground. These Saudi Arabians, which is the people in Damascus. But I will send a fire into the house of Hazael, which shall devour the palaces of Ben Hadad. I will break also the bar of Damascus. Right. It's the bars, his gates, his strength, and cut off the inhabitants from the plain of Avon, and him that holdeth the scepter from the house of Eden, right, from the house of Eden, and that's from the holy land, Eden, the Garden of Eden. And the people of Syria shall go into captivity unto Kir, said Yahweh, right? The people of Syria going in captivity unto the Kir. And Kir was a son of, I think, he's a son of Ishmael, so he's going to go in slavery under his brothers, those Syrians, which is Ishmaelites, and it's going to be blew up. That's where he's going to send a fire on them. The Lord said, I will break the bars by throwing the missiles at them. Thus said Yahweh, for 3 transgression of Gaza, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captive to deliver them up to Edom. Right. Gaza Strip, which is Palestine, those Africans helped sell the Israelites, the so-called African American Negroes, Haitians, and Jamaicans onto the white man, the Philistines, the black African that knew that we was different from them. Because God said he put a difference between the Egyptian and Israel, the Africans and the so-called African American Negro. It's a difference between a African who lived in Africa and a so-called African American. That's Exodus 11, verse 7. Exodus 11, verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue. Right, he calling them low-down beasts. Against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doeth put a difference between the Egyptians, the Africans, purebred African, and Sudanese, and Israel. Israel, the so-called African American Negro, Haitian, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Native and Seminole Indian, Native American, Native Seminole Indian of North Central South America, and the Caribbean islands, the so-called Dominican. They are children of Jerusalem, but I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza. Right, that's from the missiles on the wall. The wall is the border of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof. Right, and all those buildings that's going to be devoured by Iran missiles that's going to hit them by the missiles of the Lord Yahweh. And I will cut off the inhabitants from Ashdod, and him that holdeth the scepter from Ashkelon. And I will turn my hand against Ekron, and the remnant of the Philistines shall perish, said the Lord God. Right, so that's talking about them Palestinians, which call themselves from Philistines, which is the ancient Africans from the descendants of Montezorian, which is Egyptians, the Africans of Sudanese descendant. So the Lord going to punish that whole realm in the Middle East, from Syria, from Israel, Jerusalem, Palestine, Syria, Jordan, and Assyria and Lebanon. They're going to be shot with missiles. Thus said the Lord, for 3 transgression of Tyrus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remember not the brotherly covenant. But I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the palaces thereof. Right, so the Lord going to send missiles on Tyrus, and that's all the border. That's the sea coast of Jerusalem, Gaza Strip, where a bunch of homosexuals and gays and cross-dressers be partying around like they the children of Jacob. But God said, a man shall not, in Deuteronomy 22:5, womankind shall not wear that which pertains to men. Mankind shall not dress like women, which is abomination. So they not the chosen people. They Jewish Edomites. This is Zephaniah 2:4. Zephaniah 2. Zephaniah 2. For Gaza shall be forsaken, and Ashkelon a desolation. Right, Gaza strip again is gonna be what? Forsaken. Because the Lord ain't dealing with them. He gonna burn that up with by Iran missiles. And Ashkelon a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. Woe unto the inhabitants of the sea coast, the nation of the Cherethites, which is the Philistine. The word of the Lord Yahweh is against you, O Canaan, the land of the Philistines. I will even destroy thee, that there shall be no inhabitant. Right. So the Lord's going to destroy all the ram of Gaza Strip, all those faggots that's dumping around, parading around at the missiles that Iran going to shoot upon them. Right. This is Micah 6:13. Micah 6 verse 13. Shalakia. Shalakia. Not Micah. This Nahum 1:8. Nahum 1 verse 8. But with an overrunning flood, he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemies. Right? Who is the enemies of God? The Lord said, he against Amalekites shall he have war with from generations for generations, forever and ever. The enemies of the Most High, the Amalekite Jewish Edomites, who say that they Jews and they are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So overrunning flood, the Lord said, and hell, death and hell was cast into the lake, which burned with fire and brimstone. That's the overrunning flood. That's going to shoot off on Israel. What do ye imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. For while they be folded together as thorns, and while they are drunken as drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. There is one come out of thee that imagine evil against Yahweh, wicked counselor. Thus said Yahweh, though they be quiet, and likewise many yet, thus shall they be cut down when he shall pass through. Though I have afflicted thee, I will afflict thee no more. For now will I break his yoke from off thee, and will burst thy bonds asunder. Right, the Lord said the rod of the wicked is broken. That's to talk about the Jewish Edomites that's in Jerusalem. And Yahweh have given a commandment concerning me, that no more of thy name be sown out of the house of thy gods. Will I cut off the graven image and the molten image? I will make thy grave, for thou art thou. Right, Jerusalem is unclean, because these unclean, strange children is in Jerusalem. Behold, upon the mountains the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace. O Judah, keep thy Salam feast. Perform thy vows, for the wicked shall no more pass through thee. He is utterly cut off. Right, and that's the so-called white man, the Jewish Edomite. They the wicked. The wicked that the Bible speaks of. Right, this Micah 6 and 13. Notwithstanding, the land shall be desolate because of them that dwell therein, for the fruit of their doings. Right, the Lord said, bring forth fruit, meet for repentance. So their fruit of their doings is wickedness. That's why it's gonna be desolate from these wicked homosexuals and cross-dressing pedophiles that's in Jerusalem. This Habakkuk 3 and 11. Habakkuk 3 and 11. The sun and the moon stood still in their habitation at the light of thine arrows. They went, and at the shining of thy glittering spear. And that's talking about the missiles, thy glittering spear and the arrows of the Lord. The arrows, the Lord said them arrows in Jeremiah. Make bright the arrows. This is Jeremiah 51 and 11. Make bright the arrows. Gather the shields. That's the shields is the missile defense systems, and the arrows is the nuclear missiles. They look like a arrow. They're straight shot. They're straight long thing, like an arrow. Gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his device against Babylon. Right, Babylon is America. The Medes is in Russia, and they devices against their plan is against America to destroy it. For his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Right, the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Thou didst march through the land in indignation. Thou didst stretch the heathen in anger. Right, that's the force of the Most High when he created the missiles. The Most High created the missiles according to Isaiah 54 and 16. It's Isaiah 54 and 16. Isaiah 54 and 16. Behold, I have created the smith. The smith is a scientist. He is an operator in making weaponry, a smith. The ancient smith was a man who know how to build weaponry. But this smith, a scientist that bloweth the coals in the fire. Right, he set the course of the fire, and that bringing forth an instrument. An instrument is a device, which is a nuclear missile for his work, right, for the Most High's work. And I have created the waster to destroy, right? He created the nuclear missile to destroy the wicked. Thou didst stress the heathen in anger, right? Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even a salvation with thine anointed. Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked by discovering the foundation unto the neck. Right, their ways, by discovering the foundation unto their ways, their neck, which is where their understanding comes from. Their ways, which is wickedness. That's why the anointed is Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, and salvation coming upon the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native American Indians. This is Zechariah 7. This is Zechariah 9, Zechariah 9, verse 1. The burden of the word of Yahweh in the land of Hedrick and Damascus, right? Damascus shall be the rest thereof, right? This is going to rest upon Damascus. This is going to be upon Damascus. This is going to be laid. This is going to be the confidence of Damascus. When the eyes of man, as of all the tribes of Israel, shall be towards Yahweh, right? They're going to be towards the force of the Most High. When the missiles shot above them in Assyria, when this war jumped off from Saudi Arabia and Iran shoot missiles on Syria. And Hamath also shall border thereby Tyrus and Zidon, though it be very wide. Right, and that's going to be the border thereof. They're going to get touched down too. The sea coast. And Tyrus did build herself a stronghold and heap up silver as the dust and fine gold as the myrrh of the street. Right, that's talking about those Jewish Edomites. They heap up gold from the sea coast. Behold, the Lord will cast her out, and he will smite her power in the sea. Right, that's their boats, their navy, the navy of Gaza Strip, the navy of Hamas, and she shall be devoured with fire from Iran missiles. Ashkelon shall see it and fear. Gaza also shall see it and be very sorrowful. And Ekron for her expectation shall be ashamed, and the king shall perish from Gaza. Hamath king and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited, right? So it's going to be blew up because they're going to go to the clefts of the rocks. This Isaiah 2 and 19. And they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth. That's talking about underground bunkers that's cut out rocks and cut out holes in the ground and make underground bunkers, which is in Jerusalem. And into the caves of the earth for fear of Yahweh, right? For fear of Yahweh, he'll consume fire. And for the glory of his majesty, when he arises to shake terribly the earth with those missiles and the impact of those missiles being shot upon Israel and throughout the war upon America, China, and Russia and India and Europe, shooting them missiles upon America. And this Zechariah 14:1. Zechariah 14. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. Right, it's going to be split up. Though every type of substance that's in Jerusalem is going to be broken up. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city, right? Because they're going to go in the underground bunkers, so they're going to be safe. Some of those Edomites is going to be a remnant of those Edomites left, the Jewish Edomites in Jerusalem. Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west, and there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valleys of the mountains shall reach into Azal, right? They go into the clefts of the rocks. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And Yahweh my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. So, once the Lord caused them to flee to into the mountains, that's from the destruction that Iran going to shoot upon upon Jerusalem. And 11. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. So destruction is coming to Jerusalem with those wicked people that's not the chosen people of God. Is Isaiah 19:24. Is Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14 and 24. Isaiah 14 and 24. Isaiah 14 and 24. Isaiah 14 and 24. Yahweh of hosts hath sworn, saying, surely as I have thought it, so shall it come to pass. And as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land. Right, the Assyrian is in the promised land of Jerusalem, which is from Euphrates River to the Nile River. That's what he promised Abraham. Thy seed shall dwell from the Euphrates River unto the Nile River, which is Genesis. Tread him underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden shall depart from off their shoulders. Right, off the northern kingdom shoulder his burden. Off the northern kingdom, because they oppressed the northern kingdom, the so-called Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Haitians, Argentinian, Chaldean, native Mapuche Indians, and native Aztec and Arawak and Taino Indians, which is Native American and Seminole Indians, and Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and Mexicans. This is the purpose that for the Yahweh of hosts have purpose, and who shall disdain it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? Rejoice not, thou whole Palestine. Right. Rejoice not, Palestine. Don't be happy because the Lord shoot missiles from Iran upon Jewish Israelis, because they steadily having fights in Jerusalem. Palestinians getting killed by Jewish Edomites. So the Lord said, Palestinians don't rejoice, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. Right, the rulership of the order of the Jewish Edomites is broken. For out of the serpent's root, which is the missiles, shall come forth a cockatrice, right, a sting, and its fruit shall be a fury flying serpent, right? Some that bites you and poison you, which is nuclear waste. Which is missile waste, fire, waste of is bombs with TNT, with brimstone and gasoline, and the firstborn of the poor, right? How, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestine are dissolved, right? For there shall come forth the north from the north a smoke, and upwards is north, and that's Iran from Palestine, and none shall be alone his appointed times. Right, so them appointed times, the Lord said He set ranks for the missiles. That's Joel the second chapter, and He set a rank for them missiles to hit, and that's the appointed times. And with that,
this and this is this this is this this is Isaiah 28:11, Isaiah 28:1, 11, and 17 and 18. The burden of Tyre. Tyre is the sea coast where the Canaanites used to dwell, the Philistines, which was the Africans. How ye ships of Tarshish, for it is laid waste. Right, the Tarshish is Spain, so ships come from Spain unto Tyre, which is the sea coast of Israel, so that there is no house left, no entering in from the land of Shittim. It is revealed to them, right? Because the Most High going to destroy the sea coast. And He's going to destroy Israel's cities by Iran missiles. This 11, He stretched out His hand over the sea, right? The Most High stretched out His hand over the sea, said, surely with a stretched out arm will I rule over thee. That's His righteous right arm. He shook the kingdoms, right? He stirred up war. He shook the kingdoms. He gonna shake Israel with missiles. That's how the kingdom is gonna shake. Because the Lord said what? The this Isaiah 20 and 20, 24 and 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunken, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. So He shall stretch out His hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. And the kingdoms is these nations: Russia, India, China, America, United States of America, and in the Middle East, and Iran and Israel. He stretched out His hand over the kingdoms. He shook the kingdoms. The Yahweh have given a commandment against the merchant city to destroy the strongholds thereof. Right, that's Lebanon cities, the sea coast of Lebanon, with Tyre and Zidon. So the Lord going to send missiles on Tyre and Zidon. And this is the 17th verse. And it shall come to pass after the end of 70 years that Yahweh will visit Tyre, and she shall turn to her hair and shall commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth. So it's going to be returned. Tyre going to have a dwelling. And they was for all the merchants of different nations who ruled from the Egyptians unto the Syrians, unto the Babylonians, unto the Median Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans. And it's going to be in America and NATO, and America and NATO, uh, and there's going to be a kingdom of heaven, the children of Israel kingdom. And her merchandise and her hair shall be holiness unto Yahweh, right? Because the children of Jacob gonna rule, and from Tyre, that's gonna be a sea coast for the Israelites. That's in part of the promised land, and it shall not be treasured nor laid up, right? It ain't gonna be destroyed, laid up for stocks, because when the destruction come, people think about stocking up merchandise and going under the ground bunkers, and that's what they got in Lebanon and in Israel. And that's what they gonna do. And it shall not be treasured nor laid up, for her merchandise shall be for them that dwell before Yahweh. Right? And who gonna dwell before Yahweh? The Lord saying, returning, thou shalt be in rest and confidence. That's talking about the children of Israel returning from the lands of captivity. He shall go no more out. That's talking about in captivity. For her merchandise shall be for them that dwell before Yahweh, to eat sufficiently, and for durable clothing. Durable clothing. And that's talking about Tyre no longer being destroyed among the nations. because it's going to be for the holiness, the holy people. And it's Isaiah 30 and 30 and Isaiah 30 and 30. And Yahweh shall cause his glorious voice to be heard, and his glorious voice is his his trump, the his commandment is going to be commanded. uh his will going to be commanded to tell the angels to come back in the chariots with Christ, and the so-called UFO and the so-called intercontinental ballistic missiles to be shot off, and shall show the lightning down of his arm with indignation of his anger. Right, that's the weapons of indignation. The Most High's weapon of indignation is those intercontinental ballistic nuclear, thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles, and with the flame of devouring fire, right? Because the Lord said that's how you come with chariots and with his angels like a whirlwind, with devouring fire, is with the flame of devouring fire, and with scattering and tempests and hailstones, right? That's what the Most High going to cause upon the face of the earth, fire, the second death, the lake of fire, which he bringing with the so-called UFOs and the missiles that he gonna cause the Russians and the Iranians and Chinese and Americans to shoot off from in Iran and NATO. For through the voice of Yahweh shall the Syrians be beaten down. Right, the Syrians is Syria. The Lord said his commandment shall his voice at his commandment. The Lord said his commandment this Isaiah um this Isaiah this Isaiah 54, Isaiah 54 and Isaiah 54, Isaiah 54. Behold, I've created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth the instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy, right, for God's work. For the voice of Yahweh shall the Syrian be beaten down as his commandment. He said, for his mouth have commanded it. That's Isaiah 34 and 16. Seek ye out the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it have commanded, in his spirit it have gathered them. And he have cast the lot for them, in his hand have divided unto them by lying. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. So the Lord have commanded, for through the voice of Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, the God of the living God of creation, not the rock of Kabbalah, not Tammuz, not Ishtar, but the living God, not Serampis Christus, shall the Assyrian be beaten down, which smote with a rod. They're going to be beaten down from the missiles from Iran, and none shall be alone at their appointed time. For through the voice of Yahweh shall the Syrian be beaten down. Thus the Syrian military of Assyria, and which smote with a rod. They smote the northern kingdom with a rod. They smote the northern kingdom. That's in Tobit. He said he saw his brothers by pals, and they buried him. And he went to bury them because the Syrians left them open in the field, just dead, laid over. The so-called Mapuche Indian, the Mapuche Indians of the native Indians of Argentina, Chilean. And the Lord said they smote with a rod, they smote with order upon the northern kingdom, the Syrians. And in every place where the grounded staff shall pass, and that's the grounded staff, which the Most High rooted staff, which is the missiles that's going to target from Iran is going to hit Assyria, where the grounded staff shall pass, where Yahweh shall lay upon him, and it shall be with tabrets and harps, right? Tabrets and harps is the song. That's talking about the song that the 144 is singing. That's Revelations 14:4. The song that the 144,000 singing, which is the destruction of the cities of Israel and the destruction of World War III that's coming throughout the world, which Yahweh shall lay upon him shall be with tabrets, and in battles of shaking, right? In battles that come from shaking, will he fight with it, right? In battle and in battles that's going to cause shaking, and in the battles of shaking, battles that's going to shake, which is Iran and Saudi Arabia going to the in Syria, and Iran and Saudi Arabia going to Syria. That's going to cause Iran to shoot out missiles because they're going to be getting killed which is Second Ezra 15, and Second Ezra 15, Second Ezra 15, and 30 and 30, uh Second Ezra 15 and 32. Then shall these be troubled and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the cities shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, and their host shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Right? And dread and strife from among their kings. That's and in battles of shaking will he fight with battles that's going to lead to shaking, which is World War III. Iran and Saudi Arabia too going into Assyria. Iran stealth fighters coming out the Saudi Arabia fighters going to Syria, and they're going to be fighting, and that's going to lead to Iran shooting out missiles throughout the Middle East on the Syria, and throughout Israel cities on the seacoast of so-called Hamath, which is Tyre and Zidon, and Ashkelon cities, which is Lebanon and Israelis and Palestine. And in battles of shaking will he fight with it. Right? In battles of shaking will he fight with it. For Tophet is ordained of old, right? The grave. The grave is ordained of old. The Most High said he the ancient of days, his counsel shall stand. No one of these shall fail. The grave, which is the pit, yea, for the king it is prepared. Right? This king will prepare because Jesus Christ conquered death. He had power over life and death. Jesus Christ, Yahushua, he have made it deep and large, right? Made it deep and large because the grave, the earth, the dirt, he made it deep and large. That's the which are never full. The pile thereof is fire and much wood, right? That's who the wood is. They is stubble. The breath of Yahweh like a stream of brimstone do it kindle, right? His commandment do it kindle. He started the fire upon these nations, World War III, because Yahweh is a man of war. And with that, all praises, honor, and glory. Shalom.